Welcome to the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio. We've got a fast-paced hour of fishing, hunting, and conservation covering the nation and the Northwest, including 13 extra minutes of local content you'll only hear on Seattle's Sports Radio 950 KJR.
It might be Saturday morning, but the thing we're talking about today is Black Friday. That would be the Friday after Thanksgiving, because a lot of people are going to be shopping, but a lot of other people are going to be going after some really big fish. Tens of thousands of 1 to 3 pound rainbow trout are being dumped into lakes all over the state, giving you a great reason to skip that hectic trip to the big box store and instead head out for a relaxing day on the water to catch some really nice trout. Lakes receiving hefty plants of up to 2,000 or more jumbo trout in western Washington include King County's Beaver Lake near Sammamish, Battleground Lake and Klein Line Pond in Clark County, Crest Lake in Cowlitz County, Fort Borst Park Pond in Lewis County, and there's also South Clark County Pond there too. American Lake in Pierce County is getting a whopping 4,500 jumbo trout. In Jefferson County, Anderson Lake gets 1,200, Black Lake in Thurston County gets 3,100, and Offutt, Munn, and Long Lakes will also get good plants of fish as well in Thurston County in the next few days. Jason Wetstein with the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife will join us at the bottom of the hour to explain how this Black Friday tradition got started and why it remains so popular with the agency and anglers around Washington State. And you'll want to stick around for the end of the show when we talk to Conan Byman. He is the co-founder of Fillet Away Fish Mats, and you're going to need one of his mats if you want to efficiently clean a whole bunch of those trout. But before we get there, let's tell you, as we do every week, what's hot and what's not. Brought to you by your Puget Sound area Sportsman's Warehouse stores in Silverdale, Everett, Federal Way, and Puyallup, where a pre-Black Friday sale is going on right now. Checking in with Northwest Fishing Reports, we shared squidding info from Hannah Pennybaker earlier this month, and I'm glad we did, because they are starting to show off the Puget Sound piers. Poster Tony went out last Saturday to the Point Defiance Pier in Tacoma and fished the incoming afternoon tide with squid jigs. Tony's son caught half a dozen, and Tony caught 9, a personal best. That's pretty good squidding for the daytime, and I suspect much better squid action is coming as the month progresses and as evening incoming tides occur as well. Heading to the northwest Oregon coast, we learned from the guide's forecast that crabbing has been very good at the mouth of the Columbia and in estuaries like Tillamook Bay, and the limits are a lot more liberal in Oregon than Washington too. Don't forget your clam gun and clam shovel, because razor clamming has also been good on the Clatsop beaches of the northwest coast. What's not hot? Coho and chum runs this year. There have been a number of closures in the South Sound and in western Washington rivers, followed by some reopenings, but the bottom line is that this is not going to be remembered as a very good year for either species in these areas, with the exception of the Cowlitz River, where anglers have had some decent days this month fishing below the Interstate 5 bridge. If you decide you want to give one of these coho or chum fisheries a go, be sure to check the emergency regulations at the WDFW website first, because things have been changing rapidly. Finally, let's not forget hunting. Quail and pheasant hunting ends in western Washington on the 30th, though you've still got plenty of time if you want to go after upland birds on the east side this season. There's also archery and muzzleloader seasons going off, most of them starting the 27th for both deer and elk in western Washington, and on Monday the 25th in select portions of eastern Washington. So if you haven't bagged a buck or bull yet, don't give up. You've still got a chance to do so, and your chances can be really good in the latter part of November. And with that, you are now in the know as to what's hot and what's not this week in the Pacific Northwest.
That's your first local shot of the outdoors. Now let's see what's going on across the nation.
NorthwestFishingReports.com is the Northwest's largest fishing reports website, featuring well over 50,000 fishing reports, videos, articles, and more. All 100% free. Catch more fish with Northwest Fishing Reports. Log on today.
Ready for more local fishing and hunting? You got it. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio, right here on Seattle's Sports Radio 950 KJR.
Earlier in the show, we told you about the Black Friday trout stockings. It's a big deal if you want to catch trout here in the Evergreen State. Now we've got Jason Wettstein with the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife with us to tell us a little bit more about this whole stocking program they're doing in the month of November. Jason, great to have you on the air.
It's great to be here.
So first things first, these are not your spring trout plants. We're not talking 8-inch trout here, are we?
No, we're talking about 1 to 3 pound trout, and there are tens of thousands of these large fish going into various lakes around the region.
And why has WDFW been doing this the last few years? This is a fairly new program. It hasn't been going on forever. Who came up with the idea, and why has it been going on?
Well, frankly, it's our anglers that came out with the idea. We listen to people. I've been here long enough to remember that folks, particularly in southwestern and western Washington, were asking for more stocking well into the fall and winter, and that was the initial driver. But just as important, we know people are with friends and family around Thanksgiving, and we want to give something more to the anglers and outdoors people and establish a new tradition around connecting with one another over fishing and getting outside.
Well, I'll tell you what, it sure is a lot more fun than going to a mall and fighting the crowds for silly Christmas presents that are made in China. I'd rather be fishing with family and friends any day. Just how successful has this program been in terms of getting more anglers out on the water?
Well, we certainly start getting calls each fall on these fishing opportunities starting in, mid-October, and we see pictures of folks out fishing with crowds, and our marketing department has indicated they see bumps in license sales each time this goes on that we do this fall stocking. So you listen to the people, and it's working. The other thing, though, we recognize that the avid anglers started much earlier in the year. So this is really as much about providing a bit more and working to establish new traditions for fishing for families and new opportunities for fun for Washington communities. And I think, like you were just indicating, we all deserve a little break from the rush all the holiday through.
And if you haven't done so already, folks, make this a new tradition. Go fishing over the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. There's some really big trout, and you just go to the WDFW website, go to the fishing page, look for the fish stocking page. You'll find out exactly where they've been stocked. You'll be able to see how big those trout are. Just go to a lake near you, drop a line, and enjoy. It's a whole new way to celebrate the holidays. Jason, thanks so much for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you. Glad to be here, and thanks for this opportunity.
Backcountry Hunters and Anglers is the voice for your public lands, waters, and wildlife. Find out how you can get involved at backcountryhunters.org.
Don't leave yet. We've got one more local shot of fishing and hunting to wrap up the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio.
Before we go today, we told you about all those trout that are being planted all over Washington State, and I know you're going to go catch some, but you got to clean them too. That's why we've got Conan Byman with us today. He's the co-founder of Fillet Fish Mats, and he has got the perfect product for you to clean those fish without them slipping around or without suffering through cleaning them on some stinky piece of carpet you've got nailed to a board somewhere. Conan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, John. I really appreciate it.
So why don't you explain to our listeners exactly what Fillet fish mats are and why they're so much better than the other methods I just described?
Absolutely. What the Fillet fish mat really does is it solves all of those issues by providing a surface where you can put your fish, and the mat itself doesn't slip around at all. It stays in place no matter what kind of surface you put it on, wet or dry. It holds the fish in place with just a little bit of downward pressure. All those pegs grip into that fish and keep it there while you're filleting. And then cleanup is super easy. It doesn't absorb any oils or smells because of the type of material it is. It's a closed cell polymer. Just means it doesn't absorb anything, and cleanup is very easy. If you just rinse it off with a hose, if you're near a body of water, slap it on the surface of the water, swish it around a few times, it's gone. And it never stinks because it can't absorb anything. It doesn't get stinky like your carpet or any of those outdoor type of doormats that people can use. It's great. It's even dishwasher safe, John.
I love it. And, you've come to Fish Camp the last several years. And more importantly, folks, the fishing guides there love it. They absolutely love these Fillet fish mats. They use them, and that's a testament to how popular that these are. Folks, these mats, they're basically, 18 inches by 24 inches? Is that all it is?
Yeah, actually, they're just 14 by 19. We've made it so that they fit the majority of fish in America. And, you know, the biggest complaint is not anything to do with the performance of the mat. It's just that folks feel like it's a little small for fish in the Northwest, especially salmon, steelhead, etc. But it really holds any size fish. And it's easy to set two side by side because, again, they don't slip around. They don't slide. You can put two side by side and put a bigger fish on there. If you want the whole thing to be covered, you're good.
If you are looking for Fillet Away fish mats, you'll find them at Bass Pro Shops in Tacoma, Bob's Sporting Goods in Longview, Fisherman's Marine Stores in the Portland area, and Sport Co. in Fife. Look for the Fillet Away fish mat. It is a great product you're going to want to have as an angler. Thanks so much for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thanks for your time, John.
That's all for this week, but don't worry. We'll do it all again next Saturday morning from 7 to 8, right here on Seattle's Sports Radio 950 KJR.